Clear, compliant risk language in equity research. Learn fast. Welcome. In finance and strategy, clear risk language isn't just paperwork, it protects investors and the firm. When you explain risks well, people understand what could go wrong and how it might affect results. That builds trust and reduces surprises. Good risk statements also set realistic expectations. They frame upside and downside so stakeholders can make informed decisions. To be credible, risk language must be specific, balanced, and verifiable. That means naming the driver, noting potential impacts, and backing claims with data or past evidence. Think of it as professional honesty, precise enough to inform, cautious enough to avoid overpromising. Start with plain, non-promotional wording. Avoid salesy adjectives like best in class. Stick to clear verbs and measurable ideas. When possible, state the likelihood, e.g., unlikely, possible, and impact, e.g., modest material, to anchor expectations. If you know historical frequencies or model outputs, reference them. Never make guarantees. Instead, use evidence-based qualifiers, such as based on historical variance, per current guidance, or subject to regulatory approval. This keeps you compliant and accurate. The goal: transparent statements that inform decisions without hype, hedged by data, rather than vague caution or confident promises. Use a simple flow: condition right pointing arrow, risk event right pointing arrow, impact. For example, if input costs rise 10 to 15%, condition, gross margin could decline, event, by 60 to 90 bits per second, impact. Clearly scope who or what is affected: the business unit, product line, customer cohort, or region, so readers know where the exposure sits. Add timeframe or triggers when relevant: contract renewals, regulatory milestones, seasonality, or macro indicators. Triggers help readers understand what would activate the risk and how quickly effects might appear. This structure turns vague concern into a concrete, decision-ready statement. Prefer cautious, accurate language like could, may, and is exposed to. These signal uncertainty without minimizing it. Avoid red flags such as will not, guaranteed, or minimal risk. Absolutes can be misleading, hard to substantiate, and risky legally. When expressing expectations, use formulations like "we expect subject to," which recognize assumptions and dependencies. "We expect Q4 improvement, subject to supply availability and stable demand." This balance communicates outlook while acknowledging what could change it. The key: reflect uncertainty honestly and keep claims supportable. Specificity builds credibility. Quantify where possible with ranges or metrics: revenue sensitivity, basis points, volume swings, or timeline shifts. Name the drivers explicitly: regulation, foreign exchange (FX), supply constraints, execution risk, customer churn, or cybersecurity. Tie each risk to the segment, geography, or product line affected: EU consumer segment, North America B2B, or APAC hardware. Concrete details let readers model impacts and compare exposures. Vague phrases like market challenges or headwinds don't help decisions. Numbers and named drivers do. Describe actions, not outcomes. Instead of "we will maintain leadership," say "we hedge 50 to 70% of next 12-month FX exposure." Link each mitigant to the exact risk driver: inventory buffers for supply volatility, dual sourcing for single supplier risk, or rate caps for interest exposure. Always acknowledge residual risk. No mitigant eliminates uncertainty. For example, hedging reduces near-term FX swings but not structural pricing shifts. This honest framing shows control without overclaiming and helps stakeholders gauge what remains at risk after your actions. A 200 to 300 bits per second FX move could compress margins approximately 50 bits per second in EMEA hardware. If FDA review is delayed, the oncology launch shifts 1 to 2 quarters, impact concentrated in U.S. specialty care. Diversified sourcing reduces single supplier risk, but not logistics bottlenecks during peak season. Each example is specific, scoped, and cautious. It names the driver, FX, regulatory timing, supply chain, indicates magnitude or timeline, and avoids absolutes. Use this style to turn broad worries into actionable statements stakeholders can analyze. Before publishing, run a quick check. Is the statement specific, balanced, and evidence-backed with data, ranges, or precedent? Does each mitigant match the risk driver and clearly note residual risk? Have you avoided absolutes, used careful qualifiers, and quantified when feasible? If not, revise. The takeaway: strong risk language protects stakeholders, supports better decisions, and keeps you compliant by being clear about what might happen, why it could happen, and how big the effect might be.